taking the time out to speak with us, Alex, especially considering the tight turnaround right now. Let's start there. How are you guys handling this unique challenge of not just 3 games in 11 days, but against 3 of arguably the top 5-6 teams in the NFL besides yourselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a challenging stretch going into this, but to be a great team, you really have to thrive in adversity. And so, knowing that we have this type of schedule, I think it's just an opportunity for us to show just the team that we are, how we can, especially coming up this Saturday, how we can bounce back from a loss. And so, I think we've done that well this year. We haven't lost. We lost 2 in a row at the beginning of the year, but since then we haven't lost back-to-back games, and so I think it's just going to show the resiliency of our team by the way that we respond these next couple games for the end of the season.
Does it help game planning for such a familiar opponent this Saturday that it's somebody who you have had such a level of success in the Ravens over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes the process a little bit smoother when it's a short week, knowing that you're facing a divisional opponent, and especially a team like the Ravens, that we have such a rivalry with. And so, but at the end of the day, you still got to, Coach Tomlin always uses this phrase, you got to fit 8 pounds into a 5-pound bag. So we know that we don't have a full week's prep, but we got to do whatever we can to get all the hay in the barn before the game starts. So we just got to continue to just be urgent in our prep and the way we practice and the way we watch film. And so, I'm just excited for this next opportunity.
With that in mind, I mentioned it. You missed the first game with the Ravens, unfortunately, but you guys got in with a great game plan. It changed things up a little bit, and look, he is 1-4 against you guys. You have had his number, and yet how difficult is it to game plan for a guy like Lamar Jackson to go up and face a guy like Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, we all have the most respect for him because he's a 2-time MVP. He's an elite quarterback, and he can hurt you in so many different ways. And so, I think it just starts with just being aggressive and just really getting after him. When they're doing zone reads, attacking the mesh point, when he's handing it off, and so just kind of making him uncomfortable back there is just really our goal. And so, because if he's able to stand back there and deliver, he can deliver great throws. And if you're not disciplining your rush lanes, he can get out of the pocket and make crazy plays on the run. So we just got to play aggressive and be disciplined when we're rushing the passer.
Yeah, nice and easy then. Before we get, I do want to ask about that pass rush room and some of your scheme stuff, but you mentioned Coach Tomlin. We've had some fun watching him on Hard Knocks the last couple of weeks, but legitimately, it's been great to see some insight into kind of one of the great head coaches of this era. So what insight can you give us into working with Coach Tomlin week in, week out?
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. And for people watching on Hard Knocks, everyone's just getting a glimpse into what Coach T brings every single day. From the moment I got here, from the moment I got drafted, I knew, that this is the best organization that I could play for, and just playing for a coach like him. He's such a player's coach, and he wants the best out of us, and he motivates every time he delivers a speech. It motivates us, and we want to run through a brick wall for him, for a guy like that. And not only just on the field, but also he challenges us to be better men as well, better husbands, better fathers, better friends, to build relationships with the guys, true relationships with the guys around the building. So he's just a true leader of men, and I'm just, definitely blessed to have him, as my head coach so far since I've been in the league. And so you can ask anyone who's played for him, everyone has the utmost respect for him. And so you got to love playing for a guy like that.
Love that. You mentioned what a great landing spot it was for you. That pass rush room, you've got 3 edge guys who could be the number 1 on most teams in the NFL, and with Cam in the middle as well. So I've got to ask for you personally, with TJ Watt, with Nick Herbig, with Cam Hayward in that room with you, what are the elements of your game that you feel that you've maybe pinched off them, whether it's pass rush plan, whether it's off the field work? What have you learned from those guys working with them week in, week?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the room that I have is just awesome. We're such a deep group. We're such a productive group, and like I said, when I got here, having guys like TJ and Cam, and Bud Dupree was here as well. So having guys like that to look up to learn from, to get insight from, I was trying to be like a sponge when I got here, and I felt like that really helped me to develop in my career. And so, I'm still interacting, trying to get as much information as I can from those guys and stuff and everything. And just also having Nick as well. He's provided a lot of spark for us and made a lot of splash plays for us, and he's a heck of a player. So I think we just have a great room as well. Also with Preston, in there in our rotation as well. We just got a lot of guys who are capable and can really get after it.
And with TJ and Cam, we're talking about two future Hall of Famers, right? So is there a specific thing, like maybe year one, year two, you felt like you learned from them? Is there something like very specific you took away from them that you think made you a better guy, a better player?
Yeah. I think definitely took things from both of them as well. I think just a lot from TJ, just the way he studied film is huge, and it helps him. Like that's why he's able to make so many plays because he plays so fast because he knows what's coming. He sees plays that are coming before they happen, and then just the way he studies his opponent, the way he studies the tackle that he goes against, is something I try to just model my film study after. Just like the way that he studies them, whether they're a high hand puncher, low hand puncher, do they hold their hands, are they kicking vertical, are they kicking lateral, just like little things like that. I think has helped me in my game, and then just like with Cam, a lot in my rookie year, I did a lot of the same recovery things that he did, just get my body right. And so, he's 14 years in this league and still playing at an elite level for a reason. He takes care of his body, he does the right things off the field, and so both those guys have definitely been very influential in my career for sure.
And I also wonder, like, with your scheme, it feels like, we're living in a world right now of sim pressures and these crazy kind of blitz packages that teams are putting together and blitzing like 60% of plays some games and stuff. And it feels you guys go out there and there's no unblocked pressures necessarily. There's a lot of guys winning their matchups. There's a lot of four guys going and getting after the quarterback. What do you think are the kind of pros and cons of that? What do you think are the benefits of being able to just go out and win those one-on-one and those even double team matchups?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you have a quality four-man rush, you don't need all the blitz packages to be able to hit home. And I know there's talk out there about our sack numbers being down this year, but I think it's because we do a good job of getting out the field fast. I think we're near the top in 3 and outs and stuff, and so. But I think for us, it is important to have a quality four-man rush so that you can be able to mix up coverages and do all those things on third down. And so I think we definitely have a great group, one of the best in the league in that aspect.
It does feel like one of those things where when you're coming up against the very best, when you get into the playoffs, if you can get home with 4, then that's going to be the difference between, like, those are the teams which go to Super Bowls for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And Coach Tomlin always talks about, our 4 must kill their 5. And so, because when it's at the end of the game, when things are getting tight, if you get a sack on a 2-minute drive, the probability of them ending that drive with the score, goes way down. And so we know that in those moments, so those are the moments, that we work so hard for too. On those last minute moments, you can end the game with a sack, strip sack. So that's really what it's all about, just getting home and affecting that quarterback.
Just before I let you go, I know you've got to get off. 2 guys I just want to get your thoughts on. The first one's Jordan Mailata, who you went up against this past weekend. He's big for us as an IPP guy out here in the UK, but you faced him 31 times and put up the best pressure rate of anyone in the NFL against him. So what do you make of Jordan Mailata as an opponent, and what did you do against him this past weekend that was so successful?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely solid. I think one of the better tackles in the league for sure. And so I just knew that I had to have, a good rush plan going against him. He's a big guy, so you can't just run down the middle of him and expect to get pressure on the quarterback. So I just really had to mix it up. Try to get him to stop his feet because he's got a good kick set. So try to get him to move his feet and knock his hands down. So I got a lot of respect for him. It was a good battle going against him.
And then the last guy to go out on, because we are looking forward to 2 games, both live on talkSPORT over the next week. You get Lamar, you get the Ravens this weekend, and then if he's back and healthy, it's Pat Mahomes, it's the Chiefs. It might be a down year for them, but how excited do you get to go up and face the best of the best, and iron sharpens iron?
Yeah, I mean, I think that brings out the best in you. Competition is something that Coach Tomlin instills on us, especially at the start of camp. Everything we do in camp is a competition, whether it's competition drills, team drills. So, in the day, we're built for these type of matchups because we develop that competitors mentality during team development, during camp, and so. Those games are just added extra juice, and especially this week, we got a chance to win the division against a great team in their house, and so I think that just adds a lot of juice to it. And so that's the goal for this week: get those hat and t-shirts and lock up the division.
Love it, Alex. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, and have a good week, sir.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, Will.